Our special guest today is the 2006 Dancing with the Stars winner, the main actor and quite possibly the best souvlaki hat ad of all time, and he also just happened to play 278 games for the Carlton Football Club, was a two-time All-Australian, and his career earned an induction into the AFL Hall of Fame in 2014. Thank you for joining us, Anthony Koutoufides.
Pleasure, boys.
Let's start by going back to where your football journey started. What attracted you to the game of AFL as a young kid?
I went to Louise Primary School, and my brother, who was a year older than I, we got introduced to the oval ball, and we fell in love almost instantly, I think, and just started playing with our friends and went down. We got invited down to the local footy club by our friends, and we went down there and never really looked back, and Mum and Dad didn't want us to play, but we went along and did, and they fell in love with the game also after that. So I'm not sure why, because of course ethnic background, majority of people, sometimes they used to ask, why not soccer, but I don't know, there was just something different about this oval ball and that I fell in love with it. And then of course, we watched our idols on, play on television or listen to it on radio, and it just fascinated me.
Now, you competed in both athletics and football as a junior, both high level in both of them. Was it a tough decision to make to eventually choose footy over the athletic side of?
Yeah, it was very tough. At a young age, I made probably the toughest decision at that stage, really. The other one was whether I leave the Lola Football Club to go and play for the Carlton under-19s. But that decision to give up athletics was tough, because ever since I was a young kid, I had two sports that I loved dearly, and that was football and athletics, and maybe just behind them was basketball. But, I excelled quite well with athletics. As Australian champion at one stage there, high jump, and then I had the Australian record at the end there for the 110-metre hurdles when I was Australian champ there, and won many like multi-events, which is like the decathlon. So potentially maybe given away an Olympic opportunity to go along and pursue my other dream, and that was to play AFL footy. I know I made the right decision, but at that point then I had equal loves. There was positives and negatives to both of them, but I swayed towards the football career, because I just felt like I just had more of an opportunity there. I was still living at home, Mum and Dad, and being a good European boy, I just thought it'd be great to still live at home while I'm playing and have their support, and trying to travel, I guess, around the world, trying to be an athlete. And if you're not number one in the world, you don't really get too much recognition.
Yep. Well, yeah, I think Carlton fans are pretty happy you did choose footy over Olympics. Sure. But what was the highlight of your career?
Oh, look, by far the 95 premiership. I went online to say, I've been married and I've got three beautiful kids. I'd never, ever, if I had to choose between the two, of course, I'm going to pick my wife and kids. But to be selfish, that day there was the greatest day of my life. As a young kid, I guess, in the background maybe thought of, having kids one day, but it certainly wasn't something I thought about too much. But, to go on and play one game for the Carlton Football Club would have been a thrill. But to go on and win a premiership was almost surreal. Watching him, the grand finals on television as a young kid and kicking the ball out the front yard or backyard with my brother pretending we're playing, to then at the age of 22 being on an MCG back in 1995 in front of 90-odd thousand people to hear the siren, go off, and mate, it was just one of the most incredible, the most incredible feeling of my life.
Hey mate, it's Chris here. That Carlton team of 95, do you think they don't receive the recognition of being one of the greatest teams of all time? Because you dominated the season, and even the years prior to that and after that, you still made the finals and did so well.
Yeah, I reckon we'll go down. We probably had the greatest team of all time. We just probably didn't win enough premierships, I reckon. To win that one in 95 proved, and to only lose two games, that really the year before we were on top of the ladder with one round to go, and then we faded away. I'm not sure why. And then in 96 we started to get a few injuries that just sort of just didn't help the team, and threw us out a little bit too. But, 93 they were in the grand final as well. So when I look at some of the superstars that I got the opportunity to play with, I still can't believe it, because I think back then the supporters knew, even if you weren't a big supporter of the club, you just knew almost every player back then, whereas nowadays, there's some players you might go, oh, who's that, or whatever, but I played with some absolute superstars. So I guess if you want to define one season, we'd probably go down as one of the greatest teams of all time, because, we had the AFL record then until Essendon beat us in year 2000. So in one specific year maybe, but in, a 3-4 year span, you can't go past some of the teams that have just dominated like your Hawthorns and Geelongs and the Brisbane Lions back then.
Who was the best player that you played with?
Greg Williams, to me, was the greatest player I played with. He was just, no speed. His endurance was okay. Wasn't overly tall. Certainly wasn't athletic, but, mate, he could just find the ball and left or right foot or left or right hand. His handballs were like a kick, and I don't think I've seen anyone like that. Everything was precision with him. He had a big heart, and he was tough and, really hard. So I just got to witness 93, 94, his two probably, I dare say, his best years. I don't know how it compared to his other years, but I know at Carlton. And they would just stand out. So you'd walk off the ground and just go, how good was he today? And I guess Sticks would probably be the second player, just because Sticks, his presence as captain and his finals performances would probably go down as one of the greats. I think whenever it came to finals, Stephen Kernahan was always there.
Did Williams rob you of the Norm Smith in 95?
Yeah, I reckon he did. I've been robbed my whole career. I need to go back and imagine having a Norm Smith or Brownlow in that resume. It would be nice. But look, he kicked 5 and had 31. I had 31 as well, but on the wing. And as it panned out, he was smart, I think, on the day. And I got tagged on the wing, so it was a little bit harder for me. But at the end of the day, I still got a premiership medal around my neck, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Kouta, it's Brandy here. Usually when players finish up their career, they tend to go towards the Lance Whitnell sort of style of blowout. What if you've done the complete opposite? You're an absolute machine. How have you managed to keep in such great shape?
It's something. I mean, Lance's a great guy, incredible player. He lives around the corner from me, so I watched him as a young kid. And everyone takes different paths, I guess, afterwards. And I always wanted to look after myself and keep myself healthy. And actually, 8 years ago was probably the worst condition I was in, sleeping 11 hours a night. I'd struggle to get out of bed, get home from work, sleep on the couch. Had all these health issues. I wasn't sure. I was really concerned for the first time ever. I stopped training at certain times, so although you might see me now and I'm in reasonable condition, back then I wasn't. It was, I got onto this product. It's called Herbalife, and I've been on that product for 7 years now. I do the business. I do that, plus I've got an online Koutoufides program for those that don't like Herbalife. Everyone's a little bit different, but the products have been absolutely amazing in the last 7 years. I still eat pasta and bread. I tell people I still eat my pizza. Italian mum brought up on pasta. So I still enjoy what I believe is my life, and enjoy the foods that are presented to me. Being in a European family, Dad was Greek, my wife's Macedonian. We're a mix, and so our culture is about food. So I don't limit myself. I don't drink a lot, in all honesty, but I've smashed the Herbalife nutrition, and it's made it so much easier for me. So look, yes, it might look like, I train quite often. I train 4, maybe 5 times a week. My body's a little bit sore, so I've backed off a little bit lately. So, at the age of 45, I'm really content in the state that I'm in, considering I've still got some injuries from my football day, and I want to continue on in this pathway to go and help people lose weight, maintain weight, feel good, have energy, and really transform their lives, which I've done in the last 7 years with this product, and a little bit of assistance in the mindset part, and a little bit of exercise as well. So I get thrilled, boys, in all honesty, when I see people, lose 20, 30, 40 and over 50, kilos and more. But I've dealt with a lot of those sort of people that I've been able to transform their lives in a positive way.
Very good. Hey, Kouta, Daniel here again. So talking about the business and finishing football and where players go from after their career, how difficult was it to go from being in the bubble of being an AFL player to now having to see where you're going to go for your career outside of football, and how difficult is that for players nowadays?
Oh, look, I thought I was ready for it, and I thought, I walked in the Carlton when I was 14 in their junior development squads, and left when I was 34. I was there for 21 years of my life. I gave my heart and soul to that club, really, in every little bit I could expose the club in a positive way. I tried to do it, and I guess at the end of the day, I thought maybe the doors would be open for me, maybe at the end of my career. But when I tried to get back in there second year out, I for whatever reason, and I couldn't get back in there. Look, there's no doubt, it really, I guess, flattened me a little, and I know I did an article with Mark Robinson in describing me as being depressed, but I don't know what that is, because I know people really do suffer with that. And to me, it was like I had a job for 20 years, and then all of a sudden I've been sacked, and now what do I do? And when all I knew in my life really was footy, but what I could take into my afterlife was the skills that I learned from footy and the disciplines and all that stuff and the commitment and the hard work and the persistence and all that I learned from footy I could take with me. But there was a good 3-year period there, I guess, when I was really trying to find myself. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I didn't really have a love for anything like the work that I was doing until I found Herbalife. So I'm very lucky that I found it and got a great result on it. Looked into the business part. There's a lot of skeptics out there, but it's the most incredible company. And it's helped me grow and grow and grow even more. And, working from home, spending more time with my kids, which is really important for me, helping people across Australia and some even internationally as well. I look forward to the future now and getting up, every morning, which I think is really important. So a very difficult transition. I'm not sure how a lot of people, other footballers do it. And I'm one of the lucky ones that came through the system, did all the stuff, sponsorships and calendars and all that. I'm not sure what happens, with the other guys. But majority of the other guys at my sort of, elite level, probably found their way back to a footy club or back in the AFL system. But for whatever reason myself, I wasn't one of those lucky ones.
Continuing on that, Kouta, do you still have a passion for AFL, or has that died away since you retired?
Look, I'll never ever forget the sport. I absolutely love the game. I just don't have time to really follow it. I'm lucky now my youngest boy, Lucas, who's 7, loves it, so I get to go to games. But before that, my oldest boy, my daughter, my wife didn't like footy, so I never even really went to games after I was out of the system, really, because what was I going to do? I'm just wasting my time, going there as a supporter. But, of course, I still love it. I love the Carlton Football Club. I owe my life to that footy club, and I don't like seeing it the way it is right now, but there's nothing I can do from an outsider. People ask me, and get back in there, and I can't knock the door and say I'm going to be here. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit hard. I don't like seeing the club in the state that it's in now because I know how powerful it was when I walked in. I spoke to John Elliott yesterday, who I absolutely love and adored for what he's done, and the perception of him from a lot of people is so wrong, and I really dislike it for the fact that he gave his heart and soul and built a family environment that we look forward to turning up and playing there and feeling like the supporters were part of the family too. And that's what Carlton Football Club is to me. I don't feel like it's like that now, but people can question me, so I better just shut my mouth and not say too much.
Hey, Kouta, it's Jed here. Do you think if you were growing up now, would you still be attracted to the game?
Look, the game is different. I think it was better in the 80s and 90s, and my oldest son said, Dad, maybe if the game was like it was in the 90s, I would actually play. I'm not sure why he said that. So then, in your question, it's a great question because I don't know. I think when I got here, being an ethnic boy, it was 2 choices we had. It was footy or cricket, in my opinion. Yeah, soccer was there, but it's still, we didn't idolise the soccer players like we did AFL football. It's different now because we've got the internet. We can watch any sport, and the people that come into our country now probably don't look at the game because it's just not like what it was. So would I be attracted? I'm not 100% sure. I still think I would, but, I could be wrong too at the same time.
And in terms of the Carlton Football Club, how concerned are you about Carlton's winless start to the season? And do you still have faith in their rebuild?
Look, it hurts because I thought this year they would move forward. Unfortunately, in a few of their games, they haven't even come close to it. And, they started the year in round 1. I thought, great, this is a great start, let's go. So, look, it's concerning. It's still, I know, it's 6 rounds in, and we've just got to have faith and hope that they're in the right direction. We can say whatever we want from the outside and be the experts, but we really don't know what's happening on the inside, and you have to be within the walls to really know. I mean, it's not good 0-6, to be honest. I'd rather see it, even if it was 1 or 2 wins, obviously would be a lot better, and it's not looking good in the next few weeks too, so I'm not sure where it leaves them. I just hope that they can, turn it around. Like what I said before, I don't want to see the club the way it is now. I'm a little bit the kids too start asking the question now. They're just like, man, I've had enough. You know what I mean? Like, I want to barrack for a team that's winning. So it's really important that whatever they do, that we must go forward, show effort, and get our younger generation of kids looking forward to watching the guys play with a little bit of hope, I think.
Kouta, do you think there's too much pressure on Charlie Curnow and Patrick Cripps to perform at a high level so early in their careers?
Oh, look, I think some players get it. And, Patrick's been good, and, Charlie too. I mean, I think he's been great. He's just limited with the opportunities. He's in a team hasn't been performing that well. He's in a position where it's very difficult to rack up, 20 possessions or whatever, and he does it. So I think they're both. Cripps has been amazing. Is there too much pressure? That's part of the game. I think if you want to be an elite player, you have to accept it. And the sooner you do, the better it is. You know, it took me 3.5 years really to cement my position, but as soon as I did and started playing good footy, the pressures came very quickly after that. So I don't think it's too much on the guys, but you know, it's important that the club supports them in a way that they feel comfortable in the way they're going, support them in a role that they know they utilise their talents, and that way they can, you know, look forward to playing the game of footy.
Do you see a bit of Curnow in your own style of play? Because you were probably the first of these aerobic big men that could go around, play any position, and Curnow can do that as well.
Yeah, we haven't seen, I guess, Charlie. He's sort of just been playing the forward line, but I don't know if they're developing to sort of playing defence as well and the wing, but they probably, and the midfield, they probably just don't have that luxury at the moment because he plays so well up forward. And people have, you know, said there's resemblance of Cripps and myself too in the way that he wins the contested ball. But look, I do, look, I see it there, you know what I mean? Like, he has the hairstyle similar to what I had back in the day too. He's got the shoulders, so, you know, I don't want to, I think it's good though. Like, to me, I'm thrilled because I see such a talent. They're both incredible talent, so to be compared to these sort of guys, and, you know, whatever, I'm content with that. But I definitely do see some similarities, and you can pin, you know, even with Cripps, you can see a little bit there, but definitely Curnow, there's some resemblance for whatever reason. So just got to teach him how to pick up the ball one hand, and then he'll be right.
Kouta, do you think with Bolton's rolling 1-year contract is placing unfair pressure on him as he attempts to rebuild the club back to where it once was?
Well,
Great
I don't know.
Club, sorry.
Yeah, look, it's a great question. I don't know how to answer that from the outside because I don't know why they would do that. Do they have faith? Do they not? You know, and how he feels about it. Maybe he wants it. Maybe the club wants it. I don't know. I think as a coach, you need support from the club. You need reassurance that they're right behind them. And so I'm not sure why, you know, that 1 year on contracts would be very difficult. I know as a player, those that have been and experienced it, it isn't easy, and some can cope and some can't, but I'm not sure.
Kouta, we spoke to Ange Christou late last year, and he has a theory that goal kicking has been impacted by the changing of the match ball after a score, so the ball's never really kicked in. So do you agree with that theory?
I didn't even know they did that. So they get a new ball every time a goal is kicked?
Yeah, so they have a bag behind the goals, and every time there's a point or a goal kick, they get a brand new ball. So the ball's never kicked in, so it never softens up.
I don't know. Should I go with Ange's wisdom? That'll be the first time ever. I'm not sure. The guys run so hard. I know in my day when we ran hard and you're so fatigued, it was sometimes it just puts you off the kicking component part of it. So I'm not sure if it's the fatigue part, but they're so fit. So it's really hard to know why these guys are, you know, missing so many shots. But I assume it's probably because when they're out there, they're just going at 100% every single second that they're out there, that they get a little bit fatigued. It's the only thing I can really think of. But then again, Ange could be right. You know, he might have the right theory behind it, but I'm not sure.
Kouta, in recent years, the game has become very defensive-minded, leading to lower scores, overall match scores. Do you like this style of modern football?
Oh no, I like what I said before. I preferred the 80s and 90s footy. More goals, you know, exciting one-on-one matchups. You just knew who was on who. And I think that was the best. And that's what made the Australian game so unique. So many players and in their positions and things like that. So, yeah, I prefer to see more goals. I love it. I think that's what the game's all about. But the way it is now, it just sometimes can get a bit boring when I sit there and watch it and just go, oh, God, I think I've got better things to do than just sit there, you know. So hopefully now it's just starting to just turn that little bit the other way.
Do you think, just last question, Kouta, do you think that there's been a lot of talk about radical changes like introducing zones or theories like that? Do you think that the game needs that, or will it just naturally evolve to change back to the way it was?
Yeah, I don't sit there and examine, so I don't know what they're going to do, really. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my problem, really. I don't sit there and go, oh, well, I'm this footy head. I mean, I'm out of the game, so I sit there as a supporter and occasionally watch when I can or whatever. So hopefully, you know, for the sake of the game, that they do improve it, because I feel like I go to a lot of local footy clubs and do a lot of footy talks, which I love. And, I'm talking about Victoria, South Australia, WA and Tassie. And I see a lot of clubs, merging, amalgamating with other clubs or folding and less participation. So I worry at the grassroots level for that reason, because I want to see this game go on forever and I want it to be the number one sport in Australia. And I don't want it because it's so unique to our culture. And for me, for my parents, for my family, when I was here, this game, brought us and understood the Australian culture and, brought us out of our own thing and just we embraced the Australian way of living. So I'm hoping that, whatever they do, they've got to make this game exciting so we continue to love it forever and generations to come.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you very much, Kouta, for your time once again. We really appreciate it and we wish you all the best for the future, mate.
Thanks, boys.